We're all getting older. It's a fact of life. But are we actually getting any better at it? In this explainer, we're going to look past the number of candles on the cake and really explore what it means to age well today. So let's get right into it. So here's our roadmap. We're going to start with a big puzzle, the longevity paradox. Then we'll try to pin down what healthy aging even means. After that, we'll introduce a really crucial idea called frailty. We'll look at aging as a connected network, see what impact frailty has in the real world, and then we'll finish up by talking about how we can add more life to our years. All right, so first up, let's talk about something that sounds like fantastic news, but as you'll see, it's got a pretty big catch. Check this out. Over just the last decade, life expectancy at birth in Europe has jumped up by about 3 years. I mean, that's incredible. It feels like a massive win for public health, right? We're getting more time on this planet. But that amazing number immediately brings up a huge question. We've got more years, but what's the quality of those extra years? Is all that extra time actually good time? And this is where we need to talk about two different ideas, lifespan versus health span. Think of it this way. Your lifespan is the total length of your road trip, but your health span, that's how many miles you get to drive with the windows down, music blasting, just enjoying the journey. The big problem we're facing is that while the road trip is getting longer, we're spending more and more of those extra miles stuck on the shoulder with engine trouble. So, this gets us to a really important point. If the main goal isn't just to tack on more years, then what are we aiming for? What does healthy aging actually look like in practice? Well, the World Health Organization has a really powerful definition. They say it's about developing and maintaining functional ability. Notice the keywords there, functional ability and well-being. It's not just about not being sick. It's a much more positive and proactive way of looking at it. It's about what you can do and how you feel. Okay, so what is it that gets in the way of that functional ability? What's the thing that creates that gap between our lifespan and our health span? Well, one of the most important ideas to understand here is something called frailty. Now, frailty is not just another word for getting old. It's a specific, measurable clinical condition. Think of your body's resilience like a bank account. When you're young and healthy, that account is full. You can easily handle a small surprise, like catching a cold. But when you're frail, your reserves are low. That same little cold can suddenly become a major crisis that lands you in the hospital. And this is why this concept is so incredibly useful. You could have two people, both 80 years old, both with diabetes and high blood pressure. But if one is frail and the other is robust, their lives can look completely different. Frailty is the missing piece of the puzzle that helps explain that huge difference in their health and independence. And this is not some rare thing. Not at all. Look at this data from a major Irish study on aging. About a quarter of people over 65 are considered frail. And look at that other slice. Another 45% are pre-frail, meaning they're already on that slippery slope. You add those up, and you're talking about the vast majority of the older population. So to really wrap our heads around frailty, we actually need to change how we think about health problems. We need to move away from just a simple checklist and start thinking about a more dynamic, interconnected system. I love this quote from a big study in Mexico. It basically says that aging isn't like a line of dominoes, where one thing neatly knocks over the next. No, it's way more like a spider's web. A little tug on one corner can send vibrations through the whole entire structure. It's all connected. And in that web, not all the strands are created equal. Some health issues are like major airport hubs. If there's a problem at a huge hub airport, it doesn't just affect that one city. It can cause delays and cancellations all across the country. It's the same idea with our health. Some problems have a much bigger ripple effect than others. So what are these big central hubs in our health network? Well, it's fascinating. It's not some obscure medical condition. It's really fundamental stuff. How you yourself rate your own health, that's a huge one. Something as simple as having difficulty walking a block. And especially in those early stages of frailty, it's that feeling of vitality or the lack of it. Feeling tired and having no energy. These are core parts of our daily life. Okay, so that's the theory of this network idea. But let's bring it back down to earth. What does the impact of frailty actually look like for real people and for our healthcare systems? Let's go back to that Irish data. A frail older adult sees their doctor more than twice as often in a year compared to someone who's robust. That is a massive increase in the demand for primary care. And it's not just about more visits to the doctor's office. frailty also leads to more serious and, frankly, more expensive hospital care. Frail individuals spend a lot more nights in a hospital, which tells you they're experiencing more severe health problems. But this one, wow, this is the statistic that really jumps off the page. A frail person is over 8 times more likely to need home care services. This just shows so clearly how frailty directly chips away at a person's ability to live independently. But here's the twist. There's a paradox hidden in all this data. Even though frail adults are using doctors and hospitals so much, the study found that most of them are not using social care services, like getting help at home. This points to a huge potential gap in our support systems. People are getting medical care, but they might not be getting the everyday help they need to live safely. So that all might sound a little bleak, but here's the really hopeful part. This decline isn't a foregone conclusion. Not at all. Research gives us a pretty clear path forward for how to tackle frailty head-on. And it really comes down to a 3-pronged attack. First, the basics. Lifestyle. Good diet, physical activity, no surprise there. Second, social interventions. We have to fight back against things like social isolation. And third, we need to empower people with knowledge and technology so they can take a more active role in managing their own health. And that really brings us full circle. The big challenge for all of us, for society as a whole, isn't just about making people live longer. It's about enriching that time. It's about building a world that focuses on our health span and makes sure that those extra years we're getting are actually good ones, full of purpose and function and well-being. We have the knowledge to start doing it. The real question is, will we?